Namaste. Welcome. Welcome back to Breathe with Me. Last week, I began instruction for a really beautiful practice called Ajapa, and we're going to expand on that today. So you can take this practice and do it on your own in a place where you feel comfortable and where you can really take the parts of this apart and begin to understand its potency. Okay, welcome, welcome. Find your seat. If you're lying down, that's fine as well too. And just a reminder, if you're lying down, I guess seated as well too, it's really important for the low back to be comfortable. So if you are lying down, bend your knees as you're able and raise your hips up off the floor. Shift your pelvis forward, elongating your low back, and then settle back down. And then just walk your shoulder blades together underneath your back. And be aware of the position of your head. You may need a little something underneath your head so you feel like your chin is neither raised nor lowered. And if you're seated, bring your shoulders over your hips. And if you need to raise up off your chair and adjust your pelvis, do that. Just working through the alignment cues I have been repeating each week. And if you're not ready to sit, then come into a little bit of tension. If you're not ready to be still, come into a little bit of tension and relaxation. That can really help. So with the inhale breath, clenching, bringing tension into the body, fists, even the face, the muscles of the face, the toes, the legs. When you're ready to exhale, soften and let everything go. And just do that a couple of times. Welcome. My name is Sadhana. If you're new, I suggest that you go back to the first class and take your time to review this series. I am very slowly developing breathing practices and breathing techniques for beginners, for people who are ready to really become more conscious of their breath, understanding how important this is for one's health and healing. Welcome, Perry. Namaste. Once your body feels like it's aligned, gently come to the breath in your nose. Feel the softness and the sweetness of the breath in the nose. Are you aware of the dominant nostril, the dominant breathing side? Can you become aware of it without bringing a hand to your nose? Mine is most definitely left side, which is beautiful. I mean, to practice breath and meditation when you are left side dominant is just, it's really sweet. Very beautiful. It's a little more challenging if you're right side dominant at the moment. So you might like to come back later. You know, it's really important, I think, to keep focusing on a sweet breath in the nose, soft breath in the nose. If you don't recall what I'm talking about, I'll just repeat myself. So the breath goes through patterns of dominancy, left and right side. And if you take finger to your right nostril, close the right nostril, take a few breaths left side only, and just be aware of how free and clear or not the breath is on that side. And I'm not talking about congestion and having a cold. This is something different. This is about the dominance of the breath. And then release that hand and do the same on the other side. Close the left nostril and bring some awareness to the breath in the right nostril. And at any given time, one side will be more dominant than the other. Okay. Now, when the left side is dominant, this is a beautiful time for meditation and breathing because it connects to our lunar body. It connects to everything that is meditative, relaxing, inward turning, receptive. When the right side is dominant, it is a great time for digesting food. Our fire is more active. It's a good time for any sort of anything active. It's a good time for a walk. Good time to do something physical. It's not a great time for sleeping. It can be very hard to sleep when your breath is dominant on the right side. Now, this cycle changes for every 4 hours, 5 hours, depends on your body. And there is a moment of grace as the breath switches from right to left side dominance, left to right side dominance, where we have this moment, quite literally, a moment of clarity where all of the channels are open and free and clear. I can talk about that more at another time. So this is just really, it's a very interesting level of awareness to have. So if you are struggling falling asleep, check in with this. You might want to, get up and do something. Go finish the dishes and then try to go to bed again. Okay, so let's get back. So the theme today is the more instructions for the Ajapa practice. Now, what does Ajapa mean? So Japa is a repetition of a mantra. And as I'm speaking, just continue to make your micro adjustments, aligning the body. And you can close your eyes and just listen to my voice and be aware of the breath in your nose. And feel free to shift the awareness of breath in your body, throat or belly, whatever's calling to you as I go about the description for the Japa, Ajapa. So Japa is the repetition of mantra. And, this sounds a bit like a onomatopoeia, right? So Japa, 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 Japa. It actually sounds like, right, that fast repetition of mantra. I don't know if you've ever heard pundits chanting mantra. I remember the first time I heard them, it's like, oh my God, they chant so fast. Like I couldn't even recognize mantra that I was very familiar with. It was very interesting. And it has this, it's like a knocker on a door. It's just like, it's very hard to describe. Maybe not like a knocker on a door. It's really fast. So, the repetition of mantra is referred to as japa. And depending on one's familiarity with mantra, with any given mantra, the repetition will be at a certain pace. And in mantra practices, often there is an intention. I'm going to do the mantra 11 times, or I'm going to do one mala. So if you're doing one mala, that would be 108 repetitions. And if you are going to do 3 malas, then it's going to be just over 300 repetitions. And people also use wrist malas that are measured for that. And often the number of repetitions of mantra is a multiple of 8. 9, a multiple of 9. So, sacred number. Ajapa means not japa. So when we come to the place where we begin to sort of transition into a meditative mind, we lose track of the mantra, and the mantra begins to come from within. It's almost like the mantra I don't want to use the word automated, but it's like it's coming from our soul, it's coming from our heart rather than from our mouth. And so there's this process where it takes on a life of its own. Now, these mantras come from sacred source. These mantras were received by the rishis, by the wise ones long ago, hearing them in the ether. And you might have heard me talk about this, but when we chant Om, when we chant many of these mantras, we are joining them in the ether. They already exist. Those vibrations already are there. And when that notion clicks, it's a really beautiful thing. So that frequency, and it's also very comforting actually to know that that frequency is always with us and always around us. The Om is always here, calming us. The Om is the Amen. The Om is that sacred sound that is, slightly different pronunciation and different practices. Okay, so the mantra that accompanies the breath pattern with this breathing that we're going to do is so hum. So hum. That's it. 2 sounds. So hum. Of course, you want to know what it means, right? It means I am. I am. I am that I am. I am. I am one with the divine. The divine is. I am the divine. I mean, these sort of things are very difficult to translate. But what this mantra does is create a harmony with your divine self. And it's very simple. It's also said to sound a bit like the inhale and the exhale. So on the inhale, hum on the exhale. And of course, it's silent because you're focusing on your breath. You're inhaling so silently, exhaling hum silently. So hum. And because it's so simple, it will disappear. It will disappear from your conscious mind and become part of your energy. Okay. So leave that for now and take your awareness to your throat. And if you want to do a little bit of Brahmari breath, focusing on your exhale breath. Alternatively, just breathing, bringing awareness to the breath in the throat. The cool, swirling air in the throat. You may or may not wish to have your fingers or your hand resting on your throat. This is a cooling chakra. The connections of this breath practice are so interesting because we're going from the warming chakra to the cooling chakra to the warming chakra. The layers are just absolutely fascinating here. So cooling chakras, Vishuddhi, also called Vishuddha chakra. I'm placing my other hand on my navel center. And you can release the one on your throat if you like. And become aware of a fuller breath. The fullness of the belly as the inhale fills your being. And as you exhale, the belly softens, moves toward the spine. Your hand over the navel, this is Manipura chakra, warming chakra, solar plexus area. So in this practice, this breath practice, we're going to be moving the breath from the throat to the belly, from the belly to the throat. We began this last time. So there's several things to simultaneously be aware of. One is the throat, or the throat chakra. The other is the Manipura chakra, so the navel area. Now, the visualization here is to, and I was thinking of the word spatik, Spatik, um, like a clear quartz crystal rather than glass. It feels like it, that's just more resonant to me. So imagine a clear quartz, it's just that it's so many words, clear quartz crystal tube connecting Manipura and Vishuddhi, navel chakra and throat chakra. So within your energy body, within your physical body, imagine a clear quartz crystal tube. And you are breathing up and down this clear, I'm going to call it spatik because spatik is easier to say, it's one word. Imagine you're breathing up and down this spatik tube. And if you have a affinity for another color of quartz, of course, you could change the color of the quartz. There's something very high frequency about clear quartz. It amplifies all energy. So the bits and pieces of this again are the inhale goes from the navel center to the throat. So you're breathing up, exhaling down. The inhale rises from navel center to throat. The exhale descends from throat to navel center. So be aware of the navel center, the breath rising up the clear quartz tube to the throat, and then the exhale moving down the tube. Why the visualization of the tube? That is to contain the energy. And you can release your hands from your body and just visualize the tube. Be fully aware of the navel center and the throat, and continue to inhale up the tube. Exhale down the tube. Full awareness of three things, well, more than three actually. The locations, navel, throat, and the tube, and the breath. Inhale rises up, and exhale down. And then we're going to add the mantra. So the next time the breath goes up the tube, silently repeat so. Exhale, hum down the tube. Inhaling so. Exhaling hum. Silently repeating so, hum with the breath. Inhale so, upwards. Exhale, hum. And if you've lost the points, then bring your fingers back to the navel center and the throat. You're only moving the breath between the navel and the throat. That's where your awareness is. So on the inhale, hum on the exhale, silently repeating. If your mind starts to expand too far, come back to this very centered focus, navel, throat, crystal tube. So rises, hum, descends. Bring your focus back. Manipura chakra, Vishuddhi chakra. So hum. Keep the mantra, keep the breath within the clear quartz tube. Check in with each of the points of focus. Say them silently to yourself or bring them to mind's eye. Continue repeating the mantra. And then in this practice, we want to release everything in the opposite order that we built it. So first, let go of the mantra. Let it float away. Release the tube. And then release the breath practice. Come back to your natural breath. Take a full body breath. Even fuller, bigger than natural full body breath. And then gently open your eyes. You can reach and stretch. Okay. So this is the first stage of a Japa job. If you happen to have another mantra that you work with, you can also practice it with another mantra. And you would divide the mantra in half. And so the first half of the mantra would be the inhale, and the second half of the mantra would be the exhale. And I've actually practiced this with quite some long mantras. Om Bhurvaswaha Tatsavitu Vardeniyam Bargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Yona Prachodayat. So as you build your mantra repertoire and as you build your strength in breathing, you can use it to practice longer mantras. That's a Gayatri mantra. Om Bhurvaswaha Tatsavitu Vardeniyam Bargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Yeah. Okay. Enjoy the practice. And if you have any questions, come back and you can write your question in the comments below and I'll be sure to answer it. Okay. Have a lovely rest of your day. Take good care. Namaste.